Hey, good morning, everybody. Or maybe it's a good afternoon. I don't know exactly where you're at there, Kevin, Moshel. If you're on the West Coast like me and my soon arriving guest, I've got my friend Josiah, who heads our design team, not just for Brivity, but really for kind of the Ben Kinney empire, including our place partners. Oh, there's my friend Josiah. Josiah, how you doing?
I'm great. Hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm good. All right, so guys, my name's Bob Stewart. I do a little bit of everything here. One of my main day-to-day jobs, though, is I work with our place partners. So this is Ben Kinney's kind of real estate business. I work with our place teams around the United States to help them leverage the technology in the Brivity platform. Josiah's day-to-day job is head of design here for not just Brivity, but for our entire kind of place family of companies. And one, Josiah, of the divisions of place is our place sales teams. And so you're constantly working with our place sales teams on things like their branding, their website designs, just really anything that the consumer sees.
Anything visual, that's right.
Anything visual. So super talented. Josiah is going to kind of play my sidekick today as we go through here and talk with you guys about 8 online branding kind of strategies or tools that Brivity offers to help you guys get more exposure for your brand online. These are always interesting audiences, Josiah, because some of the people on this call, definitely not Brivity clients, some Brivity clients. So it's kind of an interesting audience. Do me a favor, Aaron or Betty or Chance, before we kick off here, I see a few of you guys have found, hi, Jody and Sydney. Go find the same place Jody and Sydney just did, the chat area, and let me know, I don't know, maybe where are you joining me from? So I know my friend Aaron is I think down in Arizona, but where are the rest of you from? And are you a Brivity client or not? I'm just kind of curious who the audience is. And maybe we kind of lean this thing one way or the other, Josiah, depending on how big the audience is. So Donna's out there in Boston. This is a client. Oh yeah, Chance. I recognize Chance. Sydney's a brand new Brivity client. Awesome. All right, we got a bunch of
San Antonio.
Looks like a bunch of Brivity clients. Yeah, Seagrove Beach, Florida. Like when I hear Seagrove Beach, Florida, Melissa, I just think sand, sun. Is it nice there right now? Because I'm pretty sure it's raining outside my house.
It snowed again here yesterday.
Minnow, North Dakota. Is that why you just said it snowed here yesterday? Because Amy wrote North Dakota. All right. I appreciate you guys doing that. So Amy Witt, if you guys have a question as we're going through here, feel free to throw it in there. Our friend Kevin, who we don't see on the screen, but he's in the background there. He'll answer any questions that you guys have. Happy New Year, Aaron. All right. I'm gonna share my screen, Josiah.
Let's do it.
And we're gonna work from a slide deck, and then we're gonna bounce into a couple of tools. We're gonna bounce into Brivity Marketer, and we're gonna look at some point here real early. We're gonna look at some different website examples of some different things as well. Some of the kind of custom things that we've built out for a few different people. So it's kind of funny, Josiah. You helped me with this deck. You and I put this deck together. But you didn't even put your face on here, man. Like,
you're the real face of Brivity. I'm just here as a sidekick, like you said.
That would have made this deck look so much better if your face would have been on there. Let me tell you. All right. So this is a thing I found a while back. I think this was a meme. I'm pretty sure I came across this as a meme, and then I went out and searched it out. But the idea here, Dave, this was written by Thomas Smith. It's kind of a famous economist or author from the late 1800s, right? That talks about kind of the journey in your brain, really, of an advertisement, Josiah. And this idea that a lot of us, especially today, and it's funny to read this thing this guy wrote in 1885, and then to realize how the internet's totally brought this to life, right? You're just I think of retargeting and the first time I ever saw that stuff, and just getting these images beaten into our heads over and over again about whatever it is, right? But you guys can kind of read through this. The idea is this person's being exposed to this advertising. In the beginning, he's just ignoring it. And then he kind of becomes aware of it and then kind of turns his nose up to it. But then is get engaged by it over and over, with the idea being your brand, your business, that product you're trying to sell, it needs to end up in front of somebody a lot of times before they decide, consciously or subconsciously, Josiah, I'm going to give this a try. And again, you can kind of, I don't know if it's a story, an allegory. Josiah, were you good in English? Like, what would they call something of this nature?
Oh man.
Josiah was good in design.
No, I promise I was good at English. But
really? All right.
I'm rusty nowadays. I don't know.
So,
listicle.
A listicle. There you go. There you go. He's clearly a millennial. Is that what you are? All right.
Somebody smarter in chat, help us.
We got to get our brand, our advertising, as it were, in front of people a lot of times, right? And somewhere in that, as Thomas would say, somewhere in that 18th, 19th, 20th time, they're finally ready to go, okay, like I might engage this. I think for you guys as real estate agents, this is even a longer play, right? This potentially becomes a play that's happening over a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's not like somebody's deciding to, buy a widget or something, right? Like they're deciding to buy or sell a house. It's a big deal. These decisions take place over a really long period of time. So we have a long time that we have to potentially try to influence them. Now, let's get into some of these things, these tools that if you're a Brivity client, you already have, but maybe we can give you some ideas on how to maximize some of these things you might not have as a Brivity client, but you can easily get your hands on. So Josiah, your website, I always tell people, Chance, your website is 99% customizable, with 1% held back. The 1% that you really can't tweak or change at all is, Josiah, the landing pages where lead generation happens, right? So like the property results pages, when somebody goes and does a search and it ends up showing them the 12 properties that match, like they can't tweak those pages. And they can't tweak the actual property page, right? Where the person looks at
the property detail page with all the photos and all the stats about the house.
Yeah. And all the calls to action, right? We've got those calls to action laid out in a very particular way in place based on just a lot of research, we track the way that people's like eyes move across the screen and where's the best place to put those buttons and how big should they be. And unfortunately, Candace, we don't give you control of those pages. It's actually not unfortunate. We've been doing this a long time. We know how to get people to click and give us their information. That's what we ultimately want. Too much control, Donna, and people end up putting flashing buttons, Josiah, and like things that they think like, oh, this seems like a good idea, but it actually like repels people away from your website instead of encourages them to sign up. But everything else on these websites is customizable. And, in some ways, it's kind of, you are limited, maybe, Josiah, by like, first off, you're I don't know, design chops, right? Like somebody who had a good vision, but wasn't, a coder, a computer coder, could still go into Brivity and really make beautiful pages that, with the drag and drop interface and all those things, right? If you do CSS or HTML, you could literally make these websites look however you want. Right. And look, I doubt there's many, again, coders on here, but some of you guys might have a kid or something that could go in and use source code in some of these pages to make some really beautiful designs. I want to, Josiah, maybe show the group here some of the real common things that we get asked to help people do, because so our team, when you first get started, we help you kind of get the website up and out the door. And some people pay for kind of an additional, Josiah, for time with your team, right? Yeah. Your design team to actually build out like custom pages or a really custom design. And we've got some websites. I mean, there are some websites I land on and go, is this a Brivity site? Like what? Because they're so custom. A lot of them have some very similar signatures, but there are some that you can't even tell. Now, Josiah, what are maybe 2 or 3 of the real common requests that we get where we're constantly kind of helping people build these pages out?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like Bob was saying, like when your Brivity site goes live, it already has all of the pages and calls to action you need for lead generation, right? And the main function of your website and your brand online should be like, it's your business card virtually, and also, as far as the Brivity platform is concerned, it's your mechanism to get more people to raise their hand, say, hey, I might want to buy or sell a house, right? Click here. However, there are definitely some common requests that we get, and my web design team is great at handling those. And I think some of the most common ones would probably be like a careers page, right? Like you want to add an extra page that's all about like why you should work with our team, why you should join us, and how that'll help you differentiate yourself in the crowded real estate space.
So this
right?
is this one here that I'm showing off, Josiah, is the Gary Mercer team. I think they're out in like Philadelphia area, out there on the East Coast. This one's pretty simple, right? It's got their video, whatever's behind. I mean, that makes me want to kind of click and see what's going on there a little bit. But you know what's going on, and they just lay it out with the video. There's an ability for somebody to kind of like raise their hand, right? Essentially, maybe send in their resume, and they can even upload their resume. Down below that, they've got some team statistics, and they sell a bunch of houses.
That's social proof, right? I mean, anytime you see any sort of stats or testimonials, that's a really important part of a website too, is saying like, what do we have to back up the fact that we're claiming these things, right? Like, and that's a great thing to add to your website, whether it's on your careers page or your homepage. Like, here's how many units, how many families we helped, buy a house last year, or how much we spend on marketing, or whatever that is, right?
So there's one example. Here's another example where we just kind of laid out some of the different things that that an agent gets when they join this particular team, or this case, it might even be a brokerage, Hugh Realty. Custom headshots and lifestyle photos and a personal web page and a bio video and the database. And
yeah,
I mean, these guys are Brivity clients. I feel like I could help them. Like, there's a whole bunch of other stuff we could put on here, right? Like marketing support and like, a market report tool so that you can keep your clients up to date. There's probably a million other things I feel like we could build out on here.
Right. And these pages can be as simple as a block with a form, with a simple form fields of, hey, interested in joining us, fill this out. Or it could be a page that's, it's got a custom gallery and 10 different blocks, and it's really talking about the value props, and different techniques work for different people. But that's one of the definitely most commonly requested things that we add to Brivity sites.
One of them, one of your people on your team had given us a couple of examples of some of these different things, Josiah. Here's another one. Man, this thing's, that's moving a little bit, but they got a video here, join the team, right? That kind of self-starting video, right? When they jump in there. Who is this? The Munoz Home Group.
They're in I think, shout out to Olympia area, or Olympia Lacey.
Yeah, they're right down by my mom, huh?
Right.
Proven success in real estate. That's a pretty cool kind of design right there on the social stats, like you said. This is a beautiful page here. Love the kind of slide through of this stuff.
Yeah, and like, if you plan on building a custom one like this, that's awesome. We're here to help support that, and our team can make it look great for you. But a lot of it depends on what you want to say, and like, David Wiggs, here at Brivity, he loves to say all the good ideas are found at the short end of a pencil, right? So it's worth taking the time to really clearly define what is your value prop and what is your competitive differentiation, and why should people join your team, so you have that content clearly dialed before you try to say, hey, now let's go build this page. Because if you've got that content ready, then we can visually make it look great. But that is one of the hangups usually, is like, hey, we want to add a page, but we don't know what we want on it. We just know we should have a careers page, right? And typically, our web design project management team, they're great at giving you a consult and walking you through, like, well, here's some of the examples, and they'll show, like Bob is, like, here's what other people have done. Does one of those seem to work for you? But really, like, at the end of the day, having your core message is something that you know best, and really that is part of your brand online, is how you present your brand in all the written messaging you have out there too.
I'm going to share these 3 career pages here with everybody that we just looked at. Again, Josiah mentioned if you were considering having us do any kind of custom pages for you, when you reach out to support and ask about it, they'll set you up with the design team. They'll do a consultation where they'll show you examples. Again, if you did come to the table, like Josiah said, with no ideas, right? You're just like, I don't know. I know I need a career page, or the one we have is not good enough right now. We can kind of help seed some ideas for you, but there's a couple of links for you guys to look at if you wanted to get the juices flowing on that stuff.
And by the way, if you didn't know, one of the cool things about having it on your Brivity site is, you can have the form so that when somebody fills it out, the person comes in with the intent as recruit, and you can have a specific special tag on that form so that when they come in, it can fire off a specific recruiting auto plan. Like, you can get it really dialed and have a great automation system around hiring. Recruiting. Right?
Yeah. Love that. I love that. I forget. Yeah. That's such a good additional mention there, Josiah, that we can bring these leads in, we can tag them with an intent or whatever, set the intent for recruit, which means we can kind of keep them separated in the database from our buyers and sellers. Custom auto plan set up to fire on these people, different than in a plan that would fire on a buyer or seller lead.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Aura, the source on those, Josiah, we can set source on a form, can't we? Or
I'm not sure, but definitely the tag and definitely the intent, right? So with that combination of tag and intent, you can set up lead routing, so it could route to specific people on your team, and you could also trigger specific auto plans to fire off. I can't remember off the top of my head if you can actually change the source based on that.
It's a great question, Aura, but yeah, so I don't think you can. I think it's going to come in sourced Brivity IDX, but again, the tag and the intent can be set so that because you can have 5 versions of this career page and have some advertising pointed at one version and give that a tag of Indeed or whatever, and have other things, your Craigslist ads are all pointed at one landing page. And so you set the tag up on that landing page to be, came from Craigslist or what have you. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility, and or our team would be able to help you with kind of whatever you're wanting to try to figure out as a result of that source. We can probably find a way to make that happen. So if somebody's already in your system, Aura, and comes in via a landing page, what would happen is, like, assuming they use the same email address, if they use a different email address, we don't dedupe on names, mostly because we have people around here named stuff like Bob and Ben, and we feel like there's lots of Bobs and Bens out there. So we don't dedupe on name, but we will dedupe on email address. So if somebody was in the database with an existing email and they came in again, what we would do is we wouldn't create a second lead, but any additional details that second lead would have been firing in would get added to the first record. So for example, if they came in for one of your recruiting forms and you had a tag on there that was like, recruit, right? If they already had a record in there, that tag of recruit would get added to that record that was already living in the system. As well as, like, if they added an additional phone number, let's say they put in a phone number that we didn't have in the record in Brivity already, that new phone number would come in and populate that existing record in Brivity, not create a second record. Great questions, Aura. Okay, so Josiah, the second thing, and I don't know if you mentioned this, I think maybe just mentioned the first one, but the second thing that we get a ton of kind of requests for and we help build out a lot are?
Like vendor pages.
Yeah. So I have 2 examples. They sent me 5 or something, but let's just look at 2. This one's Bob Walsmith. He's down in Santa Barbara, California, where they have lots of fun stuff like day spas and beauty salons and florists and dry cleaners and where to get your best desserts and photography and jewelry and catering and trophies and wine. And he kind of built out like all the local businesses. If you're going to move to Santa Barbara and after you get there, right, and you need somebody, maybe, I don't know, I was going to make a horrible joke about why you might need a public relations firm. I won't make that joke.
Stay away from that. Bob needs a PR firm.
I was going to say something like, and you get a DUI or something, you need a public relations firm. Like, I don't know why people would need a public relations firm, but you get in trouble. That's all I can think of.
So long story short, though, why should people consider adding like a vendor page or local partner page on their website? And especially in regards to brand, right? Because you're trying to brand yourself as a local real estate expert who knows the area and has connections in the community. And you want people to do repeat business with you. And part of you showing that you are a valuable wealth of information is saying, and by the way, here's our trusted local partners for all these other things that you might and probably will need as part of your home buying or selling experience or in between, right? And it's another reason for them to come back to your website and maybe do business with you again.
In a minute, one of the things we're going to talk about really ties back to that idea that Josiah just said there, right? And maybe they'll come check your website out and use you as a resource. Josiah, I think about when my wife and I moved to Arizona like 7 or 8 years ago. We lived down there for just 2 years, but my real estate agents were two guys, Kevin Kaufman and Fred Weaver. They have a team down there called Group 4610. And so I use them. They were my real estate agents. And after we moved there, because I wasn't from there and we didn't know anybody down there. Right. So we moved down there within a week. Well, it was actually a little more than a week. I tried to do my own lawn, Josiah, for a little while, but it didn't work out. I fired myself pretty fast and I called Kevin. I'm like, hey man, like who can do I need a yard person. Right. And then I fired myself as the pool guy. I was like, I'm fired as the pool guy. Who can come do my pool? And then we need to get the roof cleaned and the windows cleaned. And I was constantly calling Kevin. He could have just been like, and maybe should have been like, hey, go on my website, go to the Mesa section, because you idiots decided to live out in Mesa, and go find the yard care portion on my website, right? Or go find the pool. Because look, Kevin's probably gotten the question of who's the best yard guy in Mesa 1,000 times, right?
Yeah. Yep. And
so,
I mean, you could take it one step further, right? You could say, I'm going to build this page on my website, and then I'm going to advertise it, and I'm going to have it on my social media, right? So people see on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or wherever you're posting, like, by the way, here's these local resources for you, right? And then you could even build it in as part of your auto plan or your tasks for after you close. Like, hey, congrats. Super pumped for you. You got the keys. By the way, click here. Here's a link where you can always find these types of things anytime you need, right? Like anytime you generate a piece of useful content that helps your brand, like go put it everywhere. Like, why not, right?
Here's another example of that I thought was pretty good. All the local utilities and kind of all of the stuff that somebody might need in any of the different counties that this team, that the Coxwell team covers, right? So gas, utilities. Look, this is essentially like somebody moving into town. At some point, they're going to need almost every phone number on here, right? I guess you maybe there's a few that you hope you never need or something, right? But otherwise, like you're going to need a lot of these numbers at some point. So these are just, again, the two most common requests that we get from people, right? Hey, we're a team. We're constantly trying to find talent. And so we want to have an awesome careers page that really showcases kind of what we offer as a team and who we are. The second one, hey, our clients are constantly asking us for this information anyway. Let's get it built out. Look, some people build these pages out on their own, right? Josiah, they use the blocks that we have and they go in and they develop them out. And some people would rather come and pay a little bit of a nominal amount to have us just build them out for them and give you ideas and different things. So
right. And the last thing we'd want you to do is go in and accidentally mess up something on your site and break it. And then we have to come in and help. So we're more than happy to field any of those requests and we'll work together with you on that.
All right. So so we've got our website. Okay. That's Gary Mercer. We saw his career page. I think we looked at the back end of Gary's career page.
And this is just an example of some simple things you could do to customize your site and make it stand out, right? Like he's got this nice custom font. We could swap out something like that for you where it says redefined. I really like the style of that. Like some of the color choices here and that background gradient with the photo, like this site looks really classy and it really stands out.
One of the things, Josiah, that we tried really hard, we've done this for years and been really focused on this, is this idea of like when somebody lands somewhere, right? Like on this page, for example, that there is some pretty obvious, like, what do I do when I get there, right? Like in this case, this is buy a house, right? But if I was a seller, it wouldn't be that hard for me to figure out that is an option here as well. But nope. So just this is very clean. And it's very defined on like what we would like them to do. Now they can go off and look at the contact button or ask for a home value or do the buy page or look at our top areas or whatever, right? There's all that navigation across the top. Like the thing we want them to do is go search for a house.
And good advice for branding is that especially on a website, is that 5-second test. Like if you just landed on this, looked at it for 5 seconds and looked away, like what could you tell me about the website? What did you remember? Like you want it to be really clear that it is a real estate website. You want it to be really clear that buying home, selling home, and investing are the prominent things. Like it's that quick glance test, right? And those are also here, right? Like if you scroll down, you still got those. And by the way, he also wants you to sign up for his newsletter. So he's got some smart stuff going on, but at a glance, it's super important that homepage landing experience is like, I know exactly what these people do and I know exactly how they can help me.
Love it. All right. So our kind of second online branding tactic is the Brivity Go app or the Brivity Home app. Okay. This is the app that you can put into the hands of your consumers so that they've got an app. Now, a year from now, you're going to absolutely want this on. Right now, Josiah, the Brivity Home app is designed for somebody who's like looking at houses. And look, here's the reality. A lot of people look at houses when they're not thinking about buying or selling anytime soon. Like Zillow there are 5 million home sales in the United States, 5 to 6 million every year. Zillow gets like 40 million visitors a month. Like 5 million houses sell all year and Zillow gets 40 million visitors a month. Like, guys, people look at real estate, right? Now, today, this app is really designed for the buyer who's searching for houses, Josiah. But a year from now, this thing will be, in my estimation, dramatically different. It will be an app that somebody can get value from no matter where they are in kind of the life cycle of living in their home, right? If they're thinking about buying or selling right now, okay, fine. If they're just like on the hunt for a yard person, right? Like the app is going to have a lot of increased functionality that you kind of power on behalf of the people that are connected to you in the app. So we're really pushing hard for people to get this into people's hands, right? Especially and then obviously the people right now that are looking for houses in your area. So inside of Brivity, right? If you have people that you can see are hitting your website and hopefully everybody knows how to do that, right? Go to your leads index and look at who my last visitors are. You can actually start sending this app to them. Now, we are constantly trying to get them to download the app, Josiah. If somebody takes a listing alert from you, right, gets a listing alert in their email, and they open it up in a mobile environment and go look at a property, we're popping things off saying, hey, we've got an app and, it's a better experience on the app. Download our app. And when the consumer downloads your app, it's going to connect their app login experience with their desktop login experience. So if they're at work and they get your listing alert and they go look at a property on their desktop at work, and then later at home, Josiah, that night, they pull up the app and they look at 5 more properties, we're going to track all of that behavior, no matter if they were on the desktop version or if they were on the app.
That's right.
I firmly believe this. Like, there is no more valuable space branding wise in the kind of in your consumer's hands than a position on this thing.
Yep.
Right. You guys, like every single one of you on this call, I mean, look, maybe there's 1 or 2 weirdos, but all the rest of you have this thing within arm's reach. Josiah, like grab yours. It's not that. Yeah. Literally.
That's right.
Kevin, I bet yours is right. The Kevin's probably on his. He's like, I'm
well,
tired.
And the other thing about that is like, how many of you right now, I've been on this webinar, so I've got a bunch of red dots, but how many of you obsessively want to clear your notifications, right? You don't want the red dots on the apps. Like having Brivity Home on their phone means like when they sign up for these listing alerts and they get push notifications of new homes, that pops right up on their phone, right? And so that is just another way that you're right there, top of mind, and they can see here's the latest homes for sale, and it'll drive them back to that. They also get the email listing alerts if they sign up on your website, but push notifications are so immediate, and it's just like that's the way the world works lately.
Yeah, we'll have market reports built into these things before long, so the consumers can see what's selling around their house and get a report of what's going on right around their house. Like we got to get these into their hands, Josiah, onto their phones, however we want to say it, right? All right, that's the second thing. So we got our website. We got to get the app into people's hands. Up next is the Facebook advertising tools inside of Brivity Marketer. And you guys, so this is Brivity Marketer, right? There's lots of offline or real world things that I can do inside of Brivity Marketer. Postcards, right? Automatic birthday and anniversary postcards, just listed, just sold, super easy. The print media stuff where I can easily create flyers, right? Or even door hangers if I wanted to. This line right here, the create digital ad. This is all the Facebook ad stuff. Do this. We have a couple teams, our team in Bellingham, Ben's team in Bellingham. They don't need any more leads. They got so many stinking leads, Josiah, but we still are running these ads for them because here's something I've learned, Josiah. These are three kind of arcs in the last 20 years in online advertising. The first arc, before Google, we used to use a thing called Overture. And Overture was it was Google before Google, but back in those days, it fed like Yahoo, AOL, some of the different search engines of the kind of pre-Google era were fed by this thing called Overture, and you submitted your website to Overture to get indexed. And then, somebody went to Yahoo and typed homes for sale in Seattle, and your website might be one of the results as a result of you having submitted it, but it was a paid submission process. And so we got leads at a cost. And when we started doing that, the leads were, let's say $1 or $2, whatever it was. And then they were $3. And then they were $5, and then they were $10, and then they were more. And then Google came around, and we were like, oh, there's this new thing, Google, cool, let's do this. And so we started doing Google, and they were $1, and then they were $2, and then they were $4, and then they were $10, and then they were more. And then Facebook came around, and we're like, cool, let's do this. And they were $1, and then they were $2. Right now, they're about $3, $3.50, depending on your market. Like, I'll show you really quick. This is Cody. It's one of Ben's partners, Cody Cummings. He's in Birmingham, Alabama. We can see sometimes they run an ad, $50 he spent on this ad, and they got 23 leads. $50 and they got 25 leads. So in these ads, they were getting $2 leads. Sometimes they don't get as many, right? This was $10 a lead. I think overall he's at about $3.50 a lead. Overall, he's at about $3.50 a lead. They're never going to be cheaper. Okay. You come in here 6 months from now, they're going to be $4, and then they're going to be $5. These ads are super easy to run. Okay. They're super easy to run. In fact, let's just do one really quick here. So I come in here, if I had a listing, right? And there's a variety of different, types of ads here. Crossbridge, that's the one that I was after. So I just come in here and say, yep, I want to do an ad for this thing, right? Boom. I got to come up here and edit this ad, right? I say, well, what Facebook page do I want to send it from? Let's do it from his Apollo Property Group page, right? I come in here, we pull in the description, we pull in all the photos. I'm always going to do a carousel style, which means I got to come in here and pick out 10 photos that I want to use. So I've got, let's do, one of the front of the house here, one of the kitchen, one of the living room, right? I'll pick my 10, get the kitchen shot and the master bedroom and the master bathroom and whatever, right? One of the backyard, boom. When I'm done, I can drag them around, right? Let's go, boom, there we go. Drag them around if I want to put them in a different order, right? All right, I'm done with the photos. Now I got to go in here. I can change the headline if I want to use one of our pre-done headlines, right? I can do that. If I wanted to come in here and edit it, best deal in town, right? I could come in here and do that. If I wanted to add an emoji here, I could come in here and say, yeah, give me some fire on this house, or maybe want to make it really, really housey, right, Josiah? And then this is the description that got pulled in from the MLS because we're tapped into the MLS with this tool, right? So you don't even have to write anything if you didn't want to. You just have to get it inside of Facebook's kind of parameters, right, in terms of how many characters we can have. And then that's it. I'm done. Like, ad ready to go. I just come in here and decide how long I want to run it and how much I want to run it for. And I hit purchase, and that thing's off. And I've got an ad running out on Facebook and Instagram now. And look, I want to show you some, because this is branding. And so this starts to get, it's like, is this branding or is this advertising? Or I think it's a little bit of both, Josiah. I think it's a little bit of both. And he definitely got leads, right? 23 leads or 25 leads, or in some cases 6, right? But look at the impressions so when he got 23 leads, he still got 1,500 impressions for his brand for $50. 1,500 people like saw that Cody sells real estate in Birmingham, Alabama, and he got 23 leads.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big deal, right? This is a lot of exposure. One of the other cool things, let's go in here for a second. 8429 Fifth Avenue. Let me find 8429. Come up in here. Well, let's see if I can find one that Cody has. Filter. Let's look at some of his solds in here, because I know he's run some ads against some of this stuff. If I do run ads against some of this stuff, I get this report in here where I could show the seller, hey, seller. Now, the seller version of this report, by the way, doesn't have the things I didn't do. So like when I didn't send a postcard campaign for this guy, we don't show the seller, hey, seller, Cody, he didn't send a postcard campaign for you. We just show him the things Cody did do, right? So, you know, their property was viewed on Cody's website 187 times or actually on the Brivity network of sites, not just Cody's. Zillow had it 94. Redfin got a view on it. Here's the 2 digital ads that Cody ran for this guy. They got 515 impressions. We generated 11 leads. You notice we don't put the dollar amounts that Cody spent on these ads, right? We just show now Cody's version of it shows how much he spent, right? What his budget was, what he spent, but we don't show that to the consumer. The consumer, we just show the numbers of what happened on these different ads that he ran. So we've got ads in here for if you have a listing, right? So you can run just listeds, just solds, right? Open house ads. But if you don't have your own listings, there's these buyer search ad and carousel ad style ads where you can go in and say, look, I want to run an ad showcasing to people all of the 4-bedroom homes in downtown Seattle under, downtown Seattle, that would be under $900,000. Are you looking for a 4-bedroom house in Seattle under $900,000? Here they are, right? And I could run ads of that nature, or the carousel ads allow me to curate my own list of properties. Maybe I want to run an ad, Josiah, for the 10 best investment properties in Bellingham, right? Or the 8 best rehab properties for an investor flip or something, right? I could create ads around a set of properties that I curated and kind of built into the ad.
Yeah.
There's Albert, Brivity Home app included all the way with everything. Yeah. Now this stuff back here, you guys all have access to Brivity Marketer, right?
Also included with everybody.
Yep. Also included. Now, if you wanted to send postcards or run Facebook ads, there's a cost associated with whatever you're doing, right? If you run $50 worth of ads, cool, that you pay for that. But all the rest of this stuff, creating listing flyers or doing some of these other things, which we'll get to in a bit here, they come with your Brivity platform. All right, so Josiah, we can get our own Facebook leads by running Facebook ads against properties, or in some cases, even when we don't have a listing. Now, if we've done that, if we're running Facebook ads, I promise you, not every lead, unfortunately, Brittany, like not every lead that signs up on your website, it's like, Brittany, I want to go buy a house this weekend. Right? That'd be awesome if that were the case. We were getting $3 leads and all of them were like, I want to go buy a house this weekend. But everybody on this call knows that never happens, right? Or it rarely happens that way. What's more common is they come from your Facebook ad that you ran. Now you have a lead, and dang it, David Mall, they don't buy for 2 years, right? They just sit in that database and we got to follow up with them. Well, year and a half ago, Ben came to our team and said, I want a better way that we can just follow up with people, just put our brand on their brain and just beat it in. So we built what we call Brivity Connect. And we do Facebook lead generation, but the 2 parts of Brivity Connect that I want to focus on right now are retargeting and remarketing. So what is retargeting? Well, retargeting is where we take anybody who's been on your website who's looked at one property. If they've just been on your website at any point and looked at one property, then we start to target them basically inside of Facebook's ad environment, which the 2 major places that happens are Facebook and Instagram. But Facebook's ad environment every day is growing. And just like you go and look at Josiah, like a news site, for example, right? Or you go, you're on one of your fun design sites where you're reading about all the cool latest design stuff, right? There's ads being served to you. Those ads are either coming from Google or Facebook. Like there's like a 98% probability they're coming from one of those two big ad, engines, right? So if Facebook is serving those ads, and they serve a lot of ads on apps and websites and those kind of things outside of, Facebook and Instagram, right? We will retarget that consumer with properties similar to the one or the many that they looked at on your website. So they come to your website, Josiah, they look at a property, you're up in Bellingham. It's at 500,000 in Bellingham. The next time they go to Instagram, we're gonna have a properties between probably 450 and 550, right? In that range. We're gonna be showing them to them right there in Bellingham. Josiah, if the next time they come to your website, they're like, you know what, Bellingham's a little bit too expensive, we're gonna look out in Linden. And they start looking all over in Linden, fine. It will change and start showing them properties out in Linden because we see their behaviors change. And we will just follow them around with carousel style ads, ad after ad after ad. And look, Facebook, has anybody seen Josiah, you ever seen the movie The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, sure.
On Netflix, like a documentary. It's one of those, like, if you pay really close attention, by the end of it, you should be kind of scared, right? You're like, this doesn't seem right. But
maybe you don't want this at arm's length after that, right?
That's right. What I got, like, look, I don't know, I'm a realist, I get. Like, what I realize that stuff's happening, but what I got out of that is, wow, Facebook is really good at connecting the right ad with the right person because they actually get paid when somebody clicks on ads, right? And so the more they can put it in front of the right person, the more they get paid. These are really, really powerful ads. Like when I go look inside of, like, let's say Ben's main team, his Bellingham team's database, we're driving back lots of people every day from these ads. And it's giving the agents this kind of refined understanding of what the consumer wants. A lot of times, unless they're engaged with your listing alerts, like that's the only way to get them back to your website is if you can, if that listing alert kind of shines in their inbox and they see it and they click on it. And this is a whole nother way to engage people and get them continually coming back to the site over and over and over again. And when you combine that with this, right, we can generate really high quality, affordable leads in that $3 to $4 range. And then we can retarget them, continuing to drive them back until they're ready. Because Ryan Burns, most of these people don't buy this weekend, right? Most of these people are 9 months, 12 months, 18 months out. So we want to put your brand in front of them, continually driving them back to your website, allowing them to have that experience. But they're never more than a couple of hours from seeing one of your ads and having homes presented to them, homes similar to the ones they've been looking at. Just like I can remember, I think the first time this ever happened to me, it was actually this remarketing, which is slightly different. Actually, it might have been retargeting. This was a long time ago. This would have been 2005, let's say 2006. And my business partner, we ran a real estate brokerage called Brio Realty up here in Seattle. And my partner comes, like, screams down the hall, "Hey, get in here." And I'm like, run down the hall. And he's like, "Look at this." And I kind of come around his computer and there's an ad for this orange couch from, like, I don't know, some pretty local furniture company here. And he was on like CNN or something, right? And so I'm kind of like assessing what I'm even looking at. And I'm like, what am I looking at? And he's like, "I was looking at this couch last night at home on my computer." And I'm like, I still didn't really grab. I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And now it's on some other website the next day, like following me around." And that was like a big aha. We were like, what? And today this seems obvious, you guys. You guys go and nobody even thinks twice that I was looking on Nike yesterday at tennis shoes. And now everywhere I go, them stupid tennis shoes are popping up, right? We don't think twice about this stuff today. But in 2005, it was a long time before we could do this programmatically and be able to follow people with the right house. Okay. It's a little bit different when you've got like this kind of static inventory that's like the orange couch that's going to be there today and tomorrow and a month from now, whereas the house goes off the market tomorrow. And so This is really powerful. Now, the other side of that and kind of the Google network side of it is remarketing, which is basically everybody in the database. Okay. If they're just in the database, if we have an email address for them, it's highly likely that we can remarket to them. And what remarketing means is we work with you, right? Our team works with you to figure out what message do you want to drive home to people. And we'll even help you design what that collateral looks like, right? And then we just put that message in front of people multiple times a day, everybody in the database. This is not like, you don't get a massive amount of traffic, Josiah, back to a website from remark. What you get is this, like, I call it this low level hum on the back of somebody's brainstem. And what I mean by that is that they're never too far away, right, from one of your ads. And in fact, our teams that are running these retargeting and remarketing campaigns in conjunction with the 10 days of pain, our internet lead conversion strategies, are constantly hearing things like, oh, no, I recognize you guys, right? They don't know why. They can't actually, pull up the answer, Josiah, that the reason they recognize us is they see our ad, 5 to 8 times a day, right? It's just living on the back of their brain. They don't know exactly why. There's all kinds of statistics around remarketing. Now, listen, if you're a Brivity client, these are paid services, right? And essentially we take a little bit of a margin to pay the people that run these programs, but otherwise the money just goes into us. We give it to Facebook and we give it to Google so they can get your ads in front of the right people. If you're a current Brivity client and you're interested in talking to our team about remarketing or retargeting, or even us running your lead campaigns, just text target to 59559. By the way, that's quickly, right? And you guys all have quickly. Okay, target to 59559. Okay, so we've done website, we've looked at your app, we've talked about the Facebook ads, which is super powerful. We've got remarketing and retargeting. And the next thing is the social media promotion that we make, Josiah, super duper easy, right? Inside of Brivity Marketer. Talk to me for a second, Josiah, about kind of this stuff, right? What can I do in here? Is it just marketing properties? What other things are people using this for? Kind of break down the social media content that we've created inside of Marketer a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as far as brand goes, I mean, that's one of the easiest free ways to get your brand out there on the internet, right? So if you go in here and click on that drop down on the left, you can actually see here's all the different types of social media templates we've created for you. And by the way, these are for posts like Instagram or Facebook, as well as stories like IG stories or Facebook stories, right? So we have those in all these different formats, right? So if you take a listing, using that MLS integration, you can automatically generate social media graphics for that listing for just listed, right? You could even use a carousel template like you see right there on Bob's screen, right? Where it's got, 10 photos in there and you could have the multiple pages, right? All you do is you type in the address or you select your listing and say, I want to use this template. And then it auto generates a great looking branded piece for you to go post on your Instagram or Facebook page, right?
Here, this is how easy this is. Like I just type the address in, done. Like boom. I just download that as a PNG and go post it on Facebook.
Yep.
Right now I could tweak it. Maybe I wanted to pull the price off of there, right? I'd come in and I could edit this thing. Maybe that's not the photo I wanted to use. I wanted to use a different photo from the MLS, Josiah, right? I'd come in here and say, all right, give me I want that secondary photo. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let me delete that. I want the secondary photo, so I got to drag it in and replace it. Boom, I'm going to use that one, right? Yep. And look, if I was doing a story, I might do one with this, download it, go back, do a second one with a second picture, right? The master bedroom, download that. A third one with the master bathroom, right? And I could build a series. You guys, if you're a fancy millennial, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just borderline even knowing what I'm talking about with this kid's stuff, right?
So thing one is, yes, advertise your listings. You can have one campaign for when you listed it, another one for an open house, another one for when it sells or price reduced, or or back on market or any of those things, right? That's one awesome strategy to get your brand out there and to show people, by the way, I sell a lot of houses, right? But there's not just the things around listings. There's also a lot around your brand when it comes to agent stuff or market updates. Or one of the really popular things to do right now is, 2022 just started. It's the new year. You'll see a lot of these social posts saying, hey, here's some stats about how 2021 went for our business, right? Like we helped, 232 people buy and sell houses last year. It's another social proof thing of like, we know what we're doing. We helped a lot of people. We could probably help you too. Like you can create all that stuff right in here. Just choose one of these templates and you can post it or add it to your stories. We've got, the market update templates where you can say in your area, here's how many active, pending, and sold, listings there are in the last 30 days. Or we even have templates for recruiting. You could say, hey, join the Bob Stewart team, and here's why, right? So whether it's marketing your brand or kind of helping attract talent or marketing your listings, all that's possible right here.
Testimonials.
There's a beautiful one too, right?
Yeah.
You got a great story about a buyer who you helped and how they overcame obstacles thanks to you. Like get that testimonial, put it in here, make sure you have their permission, and broadcast that everywhere. That's a great reason for people to trust you and your brand, right?
Under contract. Like think about like the arc of one property in here, right? It's coming soon, right? I got this listing, it's coming up in a couple of days. And I know that these days, some of you guys can't do that any more than 48 or 24 hours before it actually hits the MLS or whatever. But right. So we want to stay compliant in all ways, but it's coming soon. So we could do some really easy, right? Like couple clicks and we've got this beautifully designed thing that we can put out to the socials, right? And then it gets listed, right? And then we're going to have an open house on that thing that first weekend. And then it goes under contract and then it's sold. Like that's 5 times that we have a chance to market the fact that we're out there mixing it up, helping people buy and sell real estate, right? I love some of these the recruiting. Look, our Ben's Place organization, our teams at Place are pretty dialed on this. Agent joins our team. You're going to see that. Everybody in our world is going to see that out on the socials, right? If we, like he said, this time of year, we're recapping kind of how many families we helped this last year, but definitely a lot of this stuff around actual properties that we're helping people buy and sell, right?
And in addition to all that, we're talking about if you are a Brivity customer, go to like the buyer or seller pages there, Bob, in the drop down. So there's a lot of these that you've generated to be kind of specific messaging to the real estate world, right? But some of these even like are plugging the value prop of your technology, right? So be the first to know when homes hit the market with listing alerts, right? Like you could absolutely post this on social and be like, hey, here's one of the reasons you should work with me as your agent because you're going to get the inside scoop, right?
You could come in here and change this too. If you're like, actually, I'm going to offer market reports, not listing alerts. Like,
yeah. Well, and on the seller side, we've got those templates already designed too, right? So go in here, check out what's available, and there's lots of beautifully designed content that's already ready for you to help elevate and kind of increase the reach of your brand.
Brittany Burton, I'm so glad you're here today because some of these elements back here in Brivity Marketer are massively underutilized by people. Like I see Brivity, I'm friends with a lot of Brivity clients on Facebook, and every time I see them post something that's like not as good as this, I just, I don't know, like a unicorn dies somewhere, Josiah, just a slow, painful death from like bad design. You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, we've done the legwork and we've designed these nice templates for you. So we just say, hey, go use them. That's our gift, right? In addition to that, for people who are attending these webinars, I know our team's created I think it's 14 branding mistakes most real estate agents make and how to avoid them, where it's like, here's a little cheat sheet on here's a common thing that people do. Like they use crappy photography. They don't have a professional. Like, here's what you should do. You should make sure you have a professional take your photos for your listings or your headshots, right? And so we'll give you some tips where even if you don't have a on-site graphic designer like me and my team, there's some kind of branding pointers and do's and don'ts that we'll share with people who attended this call.
Like do use the templates designed for you in Brivity
Yes.
Marketer. Don't try to make your own crappy ones in Canva. I don't
Exactly.
know. That's the advice I would take, because I'm a horrible designer. Like, design is not my thing. Josiah, you should probably like freestyle, but you've been doing this.
Well, and if you're on this call, your calling in life is probably not design apart from me. Like, you're probably really good at helping people decide that they want to buy or sell a house with you, right? So focus on doing more of that and use our leverage of my team's nicely designed stuff to help make you look good.
The last two things, when we have 4 minutes left here, because I will never do a webinar without bringing these two things up. If it has anything to do with like the internet, market reports, get one on every single person. You guys, my mom is an agent. She runs one of the place teams in Olympia, Washington. She gets a come list me email once a month. Why? Because she has 7,000 market reports set up, right? Like on a database of like 8,000 people. And a lot of people would say, what? Wait, what? 7,000 market reports on 8,000. Like, I don't have that many people with an address in my database. And look, every single person with an email and a physical address in the database should be getting a market report. But most databases only have somewhere between 15 and on the high end, maybe 35% of the database has an address. If you have a lot of buyer leads, you don't have a lot of addresses. But what we do in those scenarios is every buyer lead gets a market report for the same area as they're getting their listing alert. So Josiah, if you had a buyer up in Bellingham at 500,000, we're sending them a listing alert, which daily sends them new properties that hit the market, in that 450 to 550 range. Once a week, they get a market report. Once a week, then they get a market report that shows them all the activity in Bellingham between 450 and 550. Like, duh, right? Shows them what's pending, what's sold. So that house they saw like a week ago, Josiah, that they were like, hey, we should go see this, honey. And she was like, we don't have time this weekend. And then they get their market report a couple of days later and they're like, it's sold. Dang it. Like, next time we're going to go look at that house with Dave, right? Because I like that last one, but we waited. Yeah, we missed out. So everybody gets a market report, and then listing alerts for all buyers, right? Every buyer prospect. And if we got old leads in our system, Josiah, and we're like, I don't even know where this lead came from, they're going to get a listing alert, right? In your market, it'd be Bellingham, 400 to 600,000, go. Calvin's got an awesome market reports workshop that we do every Monday where they take you in and they dig in and dive in and workshop with you, like actually have you set up market reports on buyers and on seller prospects. He just gave you the link in the on the chat there for you guys to join him. So look, if you're a Brivity client, awesome, high five, go use some of these tools. Okay. If you're not a Brivity client, text platform to 59559 to get your hands on these tools or some of these tools that we talked about. There's a whole bunch of tools we didn't talk about that Brivity offers, right? And the platform offers. If you are interested in retargeting and remarketing, text target to 59559. And one of our team, actually, I think it sends you a link where you can book on that team's calendar to go talk to them about retargeting or remarketing. If you text platform, it's going to send you back a link that you can go to request a demo with one of our awesome people. Josiah, you're super busy, man. You run a big team. You now do marketing support for 100 place partners around the United States. So I know an hour of your time is massively valuable. And I just thank you so much for joining us to do this.
Well, hey, it's my favorite subject. So thanks for the invite. It's been fun talking about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday. It is your first Wednesday of the new year. Happy New Year. Get out there, kick some butt. And I hope that one of you guys, maybe it'll be Chance Hammock, sells $1 million house this weekend. Brittany, make it you. Josiah, have an awesome week, buddy. I'm not in Bellingham today. I will be there next week to collect that amazing gift that you have waiting for me. Thank you so much.
It's right here.
Appreciate you, bud. I'll see you tonight for happy hour, maybe, Josiah.
I'll be there. I won't be there at the beginning, but I'll be there 15 minutes in.
All right, cool. See you guys. Have an awesome
Bye, everybody. Maybe we'll see some of you on happy hour.
Bye, everybody.